So I'm Brenda Porter. I'm the Operations Director for the Colorado Mountain Club. And Chapter 7 talks about the policies and liability protection for the Colorado Mountain Club. So if you've read the chapter, you'll know that policies are actually adopted by the CMC Board of Directors. So they encompass the entire club, no matter which group you're in. So one of the new policies that the Board of Directors has adopted is called the Code of Conduct. So tell me a little bit about what that means. The Code of Conduct is basically saying, how do we want to interact with each other? We're a club, a recreational, nonprofit organization, and we want to have fun and a good time together. So it's really based on honesty and respect. And the Code of Conduct actually has some steps too, so in case people are not acting honestly and respectfully to each other, then we actually have some recourse and some steps that we can take as an organization. So please read through that carefully in your trip leader manual. So another policy that we've had for many years relates to safety, and that's that we need to have 4 people on a trip. So if you happen to start out at the trailhead and one person decides not to continue and you only have 3 people, that's considered to be a wildcat trip and not a Colorado Mountain Club trip. So it's really important that you take that seriously and that you inform everyone that the trip needs to have 4 people. And the idea there is that one person can go back, 2 people can go back for emergency help, and one person could stay if there was an accident or someone who was injured. So that's a little bit of the rationale there. The board recently did make an exception to that, though, and it's also outlined in your manual, and that's for technical rock climbing trips. So some of the members of the technical section actually came together and lobbied and made a good rationale of why 2-person trips in the front country on a technical climb is actually safer than 4. So be sure to read up on that as well if you're doing technical climbs. There's a number of other policies in that chapter, so be sure to read through them and be familiar, because you are responsible for them as a CMC trip leader. The other section in Chapter 7 relates to liability insurance. So when you're reading through that, it's a great question. So if one of the questions is, are you covered by CMC liability insurance as a trip leader for the CMC? So yes, the answer is you are covered by CMC liability insurance. However, that doesn't mean that a person won't sue either the mountain club or a leader. The good news is that the CMC is your partner and has liability coverage to help protect you in case of a lawsuit. The other protection that we have with the Mountain Club is our liability waiver. So every member and every guest needs to sign a release of liability before participating in a hike or in an activity. So that's your responsibility as the trip leader to make sure that form is signed and that it's actually turned back into the state office in Golden.